If you're like me, you want to play guitar, not learn how to play guitar. I mean, you got to learn some chords so you can strum some songs. But then when it comes to playing lead and solos, you run into a brick wall. They tell you, oh, you need to learn music theory and the location of all the notes in the fretboard. And you got to learn all the scales. You got the major scale, the minor scale, blues and pentatonic scales, and all the positions. You got modes and arpeggios, and you've got to memorize licks and sequences and know all the chord tones. It's like never ending. It'll take you forever. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to learn all that crap to play great solos. I mean, it's not crap. I mean, it's good stuff to learn, but you can learn it at your own pace. So I'm going to show you how to create your own solos on the fly, in any key. So what type of music are you interested in? Is it rock and roll? Country? How about Latin rock? Or maybe like a melodic acoustic? Or do you like it a little more jazzy? Or how about like Spanish classical with a nylon string guitar? I just created all these solos on the fly. No scales, boxes, or modes. I didn't know any note names or degrees or intervals. And I wasn't searching for chord tones or playing arpeggios. Hell, I don't even know what chords I was playing over. So here's my magic formula. You take the key the song is written in, and then you add shape 1 and shape 2 to locate all the good notes for your solo. Now here's the trick. You don't have to think about the technical stuff. You just need to listen to the song and the melody and literally sing your solo using your guitar as your voice. And let me tell you, this instrument is the most amazing voice in the world. You've got a 5-octave range with perfect pitch. That's like Barry White to Mariah Carey. Plus you've got vibrato and bends and distortion and reverb. Even use a wah pedal. You know, with a handful of backing tracks and give it a couple of weeks of practice, and you could be playing at a local happy hour or a cocktail party, and people come up to you and say, "Oh, you're so talented. When did you learn to play guitar? When you were 3?" So the question is, how long is it going to take you to learn these 2 shapes?
We got it.
What? You said you've already learned them? Oh, well then my job's done. Oh yeah, I guess I need to show you how to find these shapes on the fretboard. Now I've broken it down into 3 easy steps. And stick around to the end because I've got a couple of tips and tricks for you. The home position is sort of like a capo. You move it up and down the fretboard based on the key the song's in and the notes on the low E string. But instead of a capo, we're going to be using the first position of the pentatonic scale as our home position. So as an example, I'm going to use a song here in the key of A minor. So you find the key note A on the 5th fret of the low E string. And here's your home position, the first position of the A minor pentatonic scale. Now I'm assuming you already know the A minor pentatonic scale. You know it's 5/8, 5/7, 5/7, 5/7, 5/8, 5/8. Now the home position here is really important. These are what I call safe notes. If during your solo you get lost or confused, you can always move here and play any of these notes. Any of these notes will sound good and they'll allow you to get oriented and back on track. So now here's where the magic happens. We're going to divide the fretboard up into 3 sets of 2 strings. Now we're only going to be looking at the top 2 strings here. Again, we're using a song in the key of A minor. Now from our home position, we've already located 4 of the notes at the 5th and the 8th frets. Now we're going to add a note here at the 7th fret of the E string, and a note here at the 6th fret of the B string. And here's shape 1. So now these 2 notes should sound good over some of the chords, but not all of them. So when you play over the chords of the song, you need to use your ear to determine whether you should land in the note, use it as a passing note, or just skip over it entirely. To learn how to do this, you need to Google A minor backing tracks and play the shape 1 over a couple of tracks. It won't take you very long before you anticipate what the notes are going to sound like before you play them. Now shape 2 sort of looks like a ladder of whole steps. Now we're going to take shape 2 top and attach it to the top of shape 1. It's going to share the top 2 pentatonic notes. And then we're going to take shape 2 bottom and we're going to attach it here to the bottom 2 pentatonic notes of shape 1. And there you have it, all the good notes for an entire octave. Now this is a repeating pattern that repeats across the entire fretboard. Now the guitar fretboard covers 2 octaves, so we're going to be able to take this exact same pattern and just paste it right up here in the 2nd octave. Notice the 2nd octave pattern is not attached to the 1st octave pattern. It's next to it. So shape 2 bottom of the 2nd octave sits next to shape 2 top. The notes aren't attached. Then you got shape 1 here and shape 2 top 2nd octave here. And that, my friends, covers all the notes on the top 2 strings. So this should be pretty easy. You see the pattern of notes on the middle 2 strings is exactly the same as the pattern of notes on the top 2 strings. The only difference is it's shifted down 3 frets. And so we take the notes that we found on the top 2 strings for a song in the key of A minor, we move them over and then just down 3 frets. Our home position is here at the 5th fret, and our shape 1 is here. Now we're going to move shape 1 over and down 3 frets. Notice that the top 2 notes of shape 1 are here, right on the home position. Now shape 2 top is here. So notice from home position, you can move down into shape 1, or you can move up into shape 2. It's like you can use these notes to expand your pentatonic scale. Then you've got shape 2 bottom 2nd octave here. Then you've got shape 1 2nd octave and shape 2 top. And that's all the good notes in the middle 2 strings. So now the pattern of notes on the bottom 2 strings is exactly the same as the pattern of notes on the middle 2 strings. It's just down 2 frets. Now here's the notes we found on the middle 2 strings. Now we're going to move them over and then down 2 frets. Again, we're in the key of A minor, so our home position is here. Now we're going to move shape 1 over and then down 2 frets. Notice that the bottom 2 notes are the open E and A strings. Then here's shape 2 top and shape 2 bottom of the 2nd octave. Then we've got shape 1 2nd octave and a couple other shape 2s. And that's all the good notes on the bottom 2 strings. Now, before I get into showing you how to use this system for soloing, I'd like to show you what to do when a song is in a key other than A minor. Now, here's something that's amazing about this system. The note patterns and relationships across all 6 strings remain exactly the same. They just move up and down depending on the location of the home position, which is determined by the key of the song. So now instead of A minor, let's find the notes for a song in the key of G minor. So first we find the key note G on the E string at the 3rd fret. And here's our home position, the G minor pentatonic scale, and here's shape 1. And let's say the song's in the key of B minor. You find the key note B on the E string at the 7th fret, and here's your home position, and here's your shape 1 on the top 2 string. For a song in a major key, our home position is going to be 3 frets down from the location of the key note on the E string. Now let's say our song is in the key of C major. We'll find the key note C at the 8th fret and then move down 3 frets. You can put your pinky on the key note and you'll find your home position just 3 frets down. Now notice these notes are the same as A minor. The difference is you're playing these notes over chords and a melody in the key of C major, not A minor. So now let's say the song's written in the key of F major. You first find the key note F at the 13th fret. Then we move down 3 frets. And here's our home position and shape 1. Using these major key notes sounds really good for pop and rock and country. But sometimes when you're playing rock and roll, you're going to want to use the minor key notes. It makes it sound more bluesy. So in these cases, you're going to want to play notes in the minor key. So to do that, don't move down the 3 frets to the major notes. Here's a jam track in the key of G major. I'm going to move 3 frets down from the key note and play a few notes in the G major home position. They sound pretty good. Now I'm going to play a few notes from the G minor home position. Not so good. Now this is pretty simple. You find the key note on the E string and move down 5 frets to find the home position. So now let's say the song's in D Dorian. You find the key note D on the E string at the 10th fret, and then you move down 5 frets. And here's your home position, and here's your shape 1. Notice it's the same notes as in the key of A minor. With blues and rock songs, you're mostly going to play in the minor key or Dorian. The problem is they either don't tell you to play in Dorian or they call it out wrong. So here's an easy test. We've got a rock song here in the key of D. Here's home position and here's shape 1. Now play this note. Does it sound good? Now play the note above it. Does it sound good? If it sounds good, then the song's in D Dorian, and the home position's 5 frets down. So you may come across some songs written in Mixolydian. It works the same way, except you find the key note on the E string and then move up 2 frets. So if the song's in G Mixolydian, you find the key note G on the E string at the 3rd fret, and then you move up 2 frets. And here's your home position, and here's your shape 1. I created this chart for reference. Now there are some other modes, but the ones I've highlighted are the ones that are used the most in Western popular music. You know, you can play all over the fretboard, but I really don't recommend it. Now here's a couple of areas I'd avoid. I wouldn't play down here. This area is sort of reserved for the bass and keyboard. Your leads would sort of get absorbed and wouldn't stand out. And this area up here on the thick string sounds sort of muddy. It wouldn't make your notes sound very good. And this area down here is sort of a rabbit hole. If you play the notes down here, there's only one way in and one way out. I'd rather play the notes on the middle 2 strings. It's sort of the sweet spot on the fretboard. And finally, there's this area up here in the middle 2 strings. I'd rather play these notes on the top 2 strings where the notes really sound the best. Now these notes over here sound okay, but you can also play them on the middle strings. Now if you look at what's left, you've got a couple of paths. One on the top 2 strings and the same on the middle 2 strings, just 3 frets down. When you solo, you want to move from low and calm to high and energetic. Now I'm using the key of A minor here. Now let's say we're starting here at the home position. You can move over and move up and down shape 1 and shape 2. Or you can move down and play shape 1 and up into shape 2. Then you can move up and play between these 2 shape 2s before moving over and playing between these 2 shape 2s. And then you can finish off up here with maybe shape 2 and shape 1. Now notice you're either playing between shape 1 and shape 2, or between shape 2 top and bottom. It's pretty slick. Now for me, there's a couple of really important position markers. First, of course, is the home position of the key you're playing in. And then attached to the home position, you have 2 shape 1s, one here and one here. And the other is this area here. I call it the Dorian shape. It's got this half step. There's one here, and then there's one here. There's also one down here attached to the home position. Now I really like playing this shape. And if you use this note, you can move up from one position to the next. Now I'd recommend you start practicing with an A minor backing track until you really get the swing of it. A good place to start is moving from the home position to shape 1, and then expand into using some of the shape 2 notes. And try to avoid playing up and down the scale notes. Mix it up a bit. Listen to what sounds good to you. The other thing is when you practice, try to use as many phrasing tools as possible. You know, bends and hammer-ons and pull-offs and vibrato and pinch harmonics. See if you can do it on every note you play. Try to sing the notes when you're playing them. Now, you don't have to be a good singer. What you want to do is learn what the notes are going to sound like before you play them, because technically you're going to be playing by ear. Remember, you don't have to play a lot of notes. Try to make your solos relevant to the theme and the melody of the song.
So now with this system, you can play scales and licks you've learned. That's all cool. But you want to play a solo that matches the song. So good luck, and let me know how it goes.